There is a specific type of person who can describe a stranger's face in perfect detail, remember their exact tone of voice, reply their entire conversation word for word, and still forget their name 3 seconds after hearing it. If that's you, stay right there, because what I am about to tell you will completely change how you see yourself. This isn't a memory problem, it isn't laziness, and it definitely isn't rudeness. It's actually one of the most misunderstood patterns in psychology. And once you understand it, you will never judge yourself for it again. Before we go further, hit subscribe to Brain Simplified, because we break down exactly how your mind works every single week. Now, let's get into exactly why this happens. Let's start with the moment it happens. Someone says, "Hi, I'm Michael," and right there in that half second, something strange goes on in your head. Your brain hears the name, but at the exact same time, it's also processing their face, their tone of voice, their body language, and the context of the room. That's a lot of information hitting you all at once, and your brain has to decide instantly what's worth keeping. Here's the part that surprised most people. A name is what psychologists call arbitrary information. It has no connection to the person in front of you. Nothing about the sound Michael tells your brain anything about who Michael actually is. Compare that to his face. His face is packed with detail, shape, expression, moment, emotion. Your brain has millions of years of evolution built specifically for reading faces. It has zero evolutionary meaning built for holding on a spoken label. This is called the Baker paradox, and it's one of the most fascinating findings in memory research. In studies, people were shown a photo of a stranger. One group was told his job was Baker. Another group was told his last name was Baker. Exact same word, exact same sound, but the group who heard Baker, the job, remembered it far more often than the group who heard Baker, the surname. Why? Because Baker, the job, connects to a picture in your mind. Flour in apron, bread in the oven. It links to something, but Baker's, the name, connects to nothing. It's just a sound floating with no anchor. And that's exactly what happens every single time you're introduced to someone new. So, if you forget names easily, here's the truth. Your brain isn't failing you. It's simply choosing depth over labels. People who forget names but remember faces, voices, and entire conversation usually have something else going on. Something much more valuable. They are wired for connection, not data storage. Their attention in that first meeting goes straight to emotional cues. Are you nervous? Are you excited? Are you being genuine? There is a far more complex form of processing. That's a far more complex form of processing than simply repeating a name in your head. In fact, some psychologists argue this is a sign of high emotional intelligence. Instead of mentally rehearsing a name like a robot, your brain is busy building a real human impression of the person in front of you. Let's talk about a moment you have probably lived through. You're at a party, someone introduces you to three people back to back, but the third handshake, you already know you're in trouble. This is real and it's called sequential interference. Each new name your brain tries to store actually pushes against the one before it. Names introduced close together compete for the exact same, very limited mental space, so they blur, overlap, and vanish. It's also worth mentioning something called the next in line effect. This happens in group introduction. When you know you're about to say your own name next, your brain quietly redirects attention towards yourself, which means you're not even fully listening when the other person's name is said. It's not disrespected, it's a documented psychological reflex, and almost everyone experiences it. There's also something called encoding failure. Your brain didn't lose the name because it was deleted. It's that the name was never fully saved in the first place. Think of it like taking a photo in the dark. If there wasn't enough light, no amount of trying will bring back detail that was never captured. That's why straining to remember harder almost never works. The information genuinely isn't there to recall. Now, here's an interesting twist. Faces and stored in a completely different part of the brain than names. Facial recognition lives in a region called the fusiform face area. It's fast, automatic, and incredibly powerful. Names, on the other hand, are stored in language and verbal memory networks. A completely separate system, because these two systems aren't tightly linked. Your brain can hold a face with vivid clarity, while the name attached to it slips away entirely. It's not one memory falling apart, it's two separate memory systems, and only one of them got the update. There is one more piece of this puzzle, and it's called the tip of the tongue phenomenon. This is that maddening feeling when you know the name is in there somewhere. You can almost feel its shape, but you just can't pull it out. Researchers believe this happens because your brain stores the meaning of a name and the actual sound of a name in two separate steps. Sometimes the meaning loads, but the sound never fully connects. So the name feels close, but stays just out of reach. And if you deal with social anxiety, this entire process gets even harder. Anxiety floods your system with stress hormones the moment you meet someone new, and under the stress, your brain prioritizes survival over storage. Reading the room for safety matters more biologically than saving a sound you just heard once. So what can you actually do about it? The single most effective trick backed by memory research is simple. Repeat the name immediately out loud in the conversation, not in your head out loud. Michael, nice to meet you. That verbal repetition forces your brain to process the name as something meaningful, not just background noise. Another method is creating an association. Link the name to something visual or emotional. Michael, the marathon runner. Sarah, with the bright red jacket. This gives an arbitrary sound, a hook to hold on to, just like the baker had his bread. A third method, often overlooked, is simply slowing down the introduction. Ask them to repeat it if you missed it. Nobody will think less of you. In fact, asking again shows you actually care enough to get it right. And finally, give yourself grace. Forgetting a name within seconds of hearing it is one of the most common human experiences on the planet. It doesn't reflect how much you care. It reflects how your brain is built to prioritize emotional connection over verbal data. So the next time you blank on someone's name 2 seconds after they said it, remember this: you didn't fail at listening. You succeeded at something far more important, actually seeing the person in front of you. If this video helped you understand your own brain a little better, that's exactly the kind of thing we cover here. So make sure you subscribe to Brain Simplified, because next week we are breaking down another everyday habit that's actually rooted in deep psychology. Hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications, and I will see you in the next one.